Hello, welcome to my channel. Firstly, I'd like to say to all of y'all on Monday night, we reached 40,000 subscribers on my channel. I'd like to tell y'all all a very big thank you for all my viewers and my subscribers, hoping to reach a 50K before my 65th birthday in July. So if you are watching, to make this come true, share my videos with everyone that you know so I can get my 50Ks on my 65th birthday. Today we are going to make ghee from butter. Here's some that I made last week. As you can see, it comes out very nice, but it takes a lot of patience. This is a very straightforward recipe, but you had to monitor and you had to keep an eye through the whole process. This works very well when you get your butter on special. I bought this 500 gram of unsalted butter when it was going on special for 140 rands for the 500 grams. I prefer using unsalted butter because we get some recipes that where we use unsalted ghee, such as sweetmeats. But we also use our ghee sometimes when you want a rich finish, braising of the dal or braising of your biryani onions and throwing it on top. Besides giving out a good aroma, it also tastes richer. Ghee will also have a nutty flavor if you cook it right. Firstly, we're going to start off by cutting our butter in smaller blocks so it will melt out easily. Here I'm using a AMC pot which has a heavy base. This pot is quite old. It's about 40 years old. The reason we're using a heavy base pot so the butter doesn't burn and it heats up evenly. But one of the disadvantages is it will hold the heat at the end and we had to avoid our butter from burning. We are using a small pot because a wider pot will allow the butter to burn faster. I'm going to place my butter into the pot first and then turn my stove on to the lowest heat possible. I will quickly wash my hands. I've switched my stove on and I'm going to bring it to the lowest heat possible. And thereafter, I'm going to place my pot and allow this to melt. Once when the butter is melted, we'll get back and show you the process of how to make the ghee. 4 minutes has passed us and my butter is melting. So all I want to do is to keep spinning it around. This will melt evenly. 10 minutes has passed us since I got my stove on, and now you can see my butter is melting, and now you can see the color of the liquid. As you can see, it's quite milky and not transparent. My liquid is going to boil now, and thereafter you'll hear the water boiling off initially. 14 minutes has passed, and now that is coming to the boil, I don't want to disturb the bottom, but I will skim the top and see the color of my liquid. This foam on top is some of the milk fat and milk solid, but as it boils, it will drop to the bottom of the pan. 19 minutes has passed, and as it boiling, it's forming more foam on the top. But as you can see, as I move the froth away, my liquid is becoming more yellow and transparent. 25 minutes has passed, and now you can see my foam is breaking up and the bubbles from the boiling is getting bigger. We will give this a few more minutes till this foam break up, and then our ghee will be ready. 28 minutes has passed since turning the stove on, and 20 minutes of the butter boiling. You don't want to go too far, otherwise you have to be very conscious over it not getting too brown. And now I am ready to switch my stove off, because the heavy base will allow the ghee to cook further. If it starts to burn, the color of the ghee will turn brown, and also the milk solid will turn brown. Now we will allow this ghee to cool completely, and we'll get back to you. Here's my ghee. It's completely cool. There are some milk fat on the top, and the milk solid has settled to the bottom. So what I'm going to do is slowly skim the surface and just remove this away. Here I have my bottles. These bottles are my coffee bottles. When finished, I keep them aside, and it's very useful because when I need an airtight container, I sterilize these bottles and bring it back to use. To this bottle, I've got my strainer, and I'm going to pour in the ghee very gently into the bottle. Here's my first bottle of ghee, and here you can see the milk solid at the bottom of the pot with some ghee still in it. I will allow Pranesh to help me to pour it very carefully into the second bottle. Here's the bottom of my pot, and these are the milk solid, but we were very careful not to allow it to burn, but you can go further with a little more cooking, but be very careful. It's always good to be very careful when you're making ghee for the first time, but as you go along, you will learn the process of making ghee. And thereafter, you can cook it for more time. Here, Pranesh helped me to pour the ghee into a jug. As you can see, the milk solids on the bottom, and as it cooled down, I'll be able to pour it into my next bottle. This ghee is still a little warm, so it's hard to separate, but as it cools, it will settle. Your milk solids and your milk fat don't go for waste, because you can throw it into a curry for extra flavor. Here's your homemade ghee, which will come in handy for many recipes. This is a good process to know when you get butter cheap, and you can use any butter, so you can make homemade ghee. Sometimes when we cannot get to some of the Indian shops quickly, so we can just use our butter making our homemade ghee and use them. It just takes over an hour, but it depends on the amount that you are making. If you need ghee for an emergency, you can make some with your butter. This ghee can stay in your cupboard for a few months, but if you put your ghee into the fridge, it will stay over a year. Depend how you handle it. Avoid using wet spoon to it. That will introduce water to your ghee, and that water will cause our ghee to spoil. So I hope you'll give this ghee recipe a try. There was many viewers that requested of making ghee, so I hope this video helps the viewers that needed it. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to share, and we will catch you all on the next recipe.